Scott Shapiro here, along with Mike Beer, to talk about another big race at Colonial. It's the Grade 2 Beverly D. It goes as race number 10 on the 12 race card at Colonial on Saturday. Mile and 3/16, $500,000 for fillies and mares. A race that for a long time, of course, was run at Arlington Park. And Mike, there's really no way to beat around the bush. This used to be one of the best races for this division all year. It's not quite that anymore, but we take a look at the field for this race. Be your best, a deserving favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. Just hearing you say grade 2, Beverly D really hurt me there. It's a shame what happened to this race, but listen, we have the field that we have here, and it's not like there aren't some decent mares in this race, Scott. I mean, we'll see if the field stays intact because there could be a scratch or two, but if it stays intact, this field's not terrible.
Yeah, Be Your Best is cross-entered for the Boston Spa. And there's one other cross-entered. I'm not familiar with.
No, just I think Be Your Best is entered in the Boston Spa on Friday. I still haven't heard, what their plans are there. As the last time I heard, Staffy still hadn't made a decision, so we'll see.
Right. Well, tough field there, bigger field. This is a maybe higher, more prestigious race in some respects at this point, but 9 to 5 in this race probably not going to be a bad option for Safi and crew. And we'll take a look at the pace projector in here. I don't really think there's a question that the pace should be honest, but I do think there's a question on what filly or mare might end up being aggressive in here, and which of them will maybe sit off. But it's got Charlene's Dream on the lead, Mike, and I think that's probably where I would lie.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they were going to try to rate Charlene's Dream in this race, if this is where they're going to run her. That being said, and listen, Be Your Best, she's capable of sitting off another horse, but man, is she fast. And did she just run a giant race on a fast pace in a grade 1 in California?
Sure did. That's the game. We will take a look at that shortly. And yeah, Be Your Best coming in off a very, very good effort there and been freshened up by Safi Joseph. But we'll start out with a long shot, to say the least, in this field. Maybe a mare, though, that can take advantage of a potential pace that's honest or quicker. And it's a Florida bred for Angel Rodriguez, number 1, Chick's Shadow. 9 for 54 in the career, never worse than second in 4 starts here, Mike. Does she have any chance to get involved in here?
Listen, I know the Beverly D isn't what it used to be, but it hasn't fallen this far. I mean, there's really no way that this horse can beat even this. Because I don't know if she got hustled in here or if her connections just want to take a shot or whatever, but she's really hard to make a case for.
Yeah, her last win, August 17th of 2024, in an allowance at Gulfstream Park. So you would think they're just going to sit back and, I mean, she doesn't have any speed anyway, and make a run, but up against it for sure. Chick Shadow, moving up in class, was 27-1 last race and finished second against Lesser. Move to number 2, Be Your Best, who deserves the most respect and garnered the 9 to 5 morning line price in here as we take a look at the aforementioned Gamely, Mike. And you mentioned she was ridden aggressively by Irad Ortiz Jr., went to the front and never looked back. But this was not a case of a mare getting an easy lead. She just kind of speed burnt them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it so impressive. Not that she wired a field, because you'll see that happen from time to time. The fact that she went the fractions that she went, and when you go back, and we only showed you the stretch one there where she had already put away the horse who just went after her early in that race and really made her run every step of the way. I mean, that was, to me, a really, really strong performance. And Safi Joseph has gotten this mare back into really good form since he took over. For whatever reason, she started out with potential. She lost her way a little bit. Safi's gotten her back in really, really good form. And in my opinion, she's way the horse to beat in here.
Yeah, we were talking about how good she was as a 2-year-old filly at Saratoga, winning on debut way back for Horacio de Paz, and had a lot of promise. But again, Safi's found the right spots for this mare as well, much like Skippy Longstocking. But she's handled the grade 1 gamely, and she'll look to make it a grade 2 here in the Beverly D. Tyler Gaffleone will be aboard here for the first time as we move to number 3, Beach Bomb, who comes off a couple of runner-up efforts against quality fields in New York, including last out when she ran really well to finish second, beating only half a length to She Feels Pretty, who was a really big favorite. Beach Bomb, 6 for 15 in the career, looking for that kind of breakthrough win here, but she's honest, right?
Yeah, she ran really well in this race. We'll see what kind of trip she pulls this time, Scott, and then we'll see. I'm conflicted about her because she's got a couple of wins earlier this year at Gulfstream in longer races where she just, in both of those wins, just got absolutely loose on really slow paces. So I wasn't sure how much credit to give her. Now she's come back with two other races in New York where I thought she ran really well both times without the lead. So I do think she's good enough. The question that I have for you, the question that I was asking myself, and now I'll ask it to you, because I think you're interested in this horse, is how much are you going to read into that New York? First of all, it was run over a bog of a turf course. This filly ran hard every step of the way. We've already seen it. I feel like maybe take a little bit of a toll on She Feels Pretty, who certainly ran hard every step of the way. She came back and got beat. Baletza, who was third in there, she came back and she got beat in her next start as the favorite. I just wonder, working hard over a bog of a turf course like that, I just wonder how much it took out of this mare.
Outstanding point. Not a super strong opinion, but yeah, a horse that I'm leaning on in terms of a top selection, as we'll see later. But that's a great point about the yielding course. I guess I kind of have had the same opinion of her coming from Gulfstream with those easy leads and wins that really didn't do much to move me. But running second in back-to-back races outside of Florida, I thought made her a horse that I expect to run well. But I think she is a little bit race shape dependent, to use that term. And if she doesn't have the lead, or if they go quick early, is she really going to win? But I thought maybe the price would be fair here. The one that we expect and the projector expects is number 4, Charlene's Dream, a 4-year-old filly for Ed Moger Jr., who's had a really good year, 18% positive ROI for the year. And I think just watching her races combined with the running lines, it's hard to imagine her being held back here.
Yeah, I can't imagine they would try to rate her. Now, she's just in really good form, and she's found that good form just using her speed. She's always been a speed horse since they switched her over to turf. She's run really well on this surface, and she's done it, just sort of running out of there and racing forward. So, we'll see what she can do here. I feel like this is a pretty tough pace scenario for her, especially if Be Your Best does run here. I think it's going to make it really hard on her, but I just don't really want to knock this horse, guys. She's underrated. She's in good form. I feel like the 7-2 morning line, if the field stays intact, I think that's a terrible price on her. But we'll see what price you get. Maybe she'll drift.
Yeah, that's all very good points there. 5 for 10 in her career. The mile and 3/16 I thought might be a little bit of a concern. This is a filly that has done most of her races at significantly shorter distances. So to add to your point, 7-2 is not what I would be willing to take. But again, in great form for a barn that's been in great form. So maybe not one to overlook if she floats up on the tote board. The 5 is Spanish Eyes, and 2 starts in the States for Brendan Walsh, and hasn't won yet, but took money in both of them. And Mike, you could certainly make excuses for both races, but particularly May 17th, where she was expected to win in her first start here. Brendan Walsh had been having a real good spring, but not winning that day is not something I bet you're all that concerned with.
No, I'm not. And it's interesting because if you go, she was off the layoff there anyway. But that's one of those situations where if you go back, you have to watch the replay of it anyway. But particularly the head-on replay, because I think it's pretty easy to argue that she was going to win that day if she got any kind of a trip there. But her rider just elected to he stayed in for the stretch. He was going to try to split horses, and it just never really fully opened up for him. He had to ultimately just try to force his way through there very late. But by the time he did that, the closers were already coming out in the clear with a full head of steam. And I think it really cost her in there. They come back in a grade 3 going longer last time. I don't know if you have, if you watched that race, if you have any opinion on it. But first of all, just the fact that I guess Delaware couldn't time it just because they were going so slow. I don't know what the deal is with there's no fraction, but they were crawling on the lead in there. She's sitting at the back of the pack. Her rider had to try to launch wide off the turn. But when he did, the horse that won the race still had plenty left. And she just couldn't run her down. I thought she ran an underrated race there too. And her form in Germany was great. You can go back and watch a lot of those races. Her effort in the German Oaks last year was giant. She ran a huge race in there. And I feel like if she can get the right trip this time and then run similar to that, she could easily beat these horses.
Yeah, Marksman Queen was loose on the lead in the crawl that you mentioned, the Robert Dick Memorial Grade 3 there at Delaware, but a lesser field. But yeah, Spanish Eyes up against it from the from the get-go in there, chasing
Yeah.
the pace, and we're not really chasing, but I think Spanish Eyes makes a lot of sense. The obvious concern, just one win in the career,
Yeah.
taking on grade 2 foes. But as we talked about, not the strongest grade 2 we're going to see all year. The final horse is number 6, Duvet Day. Third off the layoff for Michael McCarthy. It's been a great year, obviously, for Whitey, getting the journalism win in the Preakness amongst other big races and a couple big runner-up performances. This is a mare that I feel like has always supposed to run better than she has. She's had some good setups. Thought she had a pretty good one in the Anchorage at Churchill last time and was just second best. But you could argue she's going to get the right flow.
Yeah, I think you could. The pace, but she wants this field to stay intact. She wants no scratches out of this race. Hopefully, it stays intact. It sets up for. I feel like the other thing that I would just say about her, I mean, she kind of just is what she is. She runs the same race kind of over and over again. I do kind of feel like a little bit shorter might be a little bit better for her. I mean, they spend a lot of time, mile and 3/8, mile and a half, and she can get that far. I think she might be a little bit better going a little shorter. We'll see if she gets a setup.
Yeah, the setup obviously going to be key here for Duvet Day. 3-1, probably low. I think you're going to
Yeah.
get a better price if you're on this Michael McCarthy trainee. As we take a look at our selections, and neither of us going with Be Your Best, even though we both probably think she's the likeliest winner. Not to put words in your mouth, Mike, but it's a gambling pari-mutuel game.
Yeah, I do think she's the most likely winner if she runs here. I'm not way against her. But listen, Spanish Eyes to me, the longer I looked at her, the more I just feel like she's way better than she looks on paper. And just because those two races so far don't look that great, maybe she'll get overlooked a little bit here. And if she does, I want to bet her.
I totally see it. I almost made her my top selection, got scared away, went with Beach Bomb, who has 6 wins as opposed to 1. But if the odds are Spanish Eyes float a little, I could definitely see making a strong case to wager on that one. But that'll do it for the preview here for the Beverly D, grade 2, part of the big card at Colonial for Arlington Million Day. Great joining you with Mike. We'll be back soon. Best of luck this weekend.